This is going to be one of the craziest chapters in all of Jujutsu Kaisen. Not only do we get Hakari versus Uraume, which keep in mind, I made a video talking about this fight and saying why it's going to be generational, so the timing couldn't have been more perfect. Sukuna, he actually just killed Higuruma and Kusakabe in cold blood with Cleaveness Mantle. And yes, I've made videos on this for over 2 months saying that Yuji and Higuruma will definitely fail, and here we are, they all came true. This chapter was brutal, insane, and the fights we got were just phenomenal, especially with Uraume and Hakari, and everyone jumping Sukuna only to get destroyed by the King of Curses. So trust me, you're definitely going to want to stick around for this one all the way into the end. So be sure to leave a like, it helps out a ton, and of course subscribe for a ton of JJK content just like this. A ton of spoiler videos on chapters when they come out, power scaling videos, analysis, crazy theory videos, because less than 10% of people who actually watch my videos are subscribed. So trust me, if you want to see some quality and consistent JJK content, you won't regret subscribing. And of course, thank you to the special members of the channel. Let us get right into this. And of course, courtesy to Scanpia as well, I've got all the translations early too, and I'll be providing those translations in the video. So in the beginning of the chapter, we have Uraume versus Hakari, and yes, just like in my video, like I said it would, had actually freeze curse energy, even Jackpot's cursed energy, which they actually do, and I actually tweeted about this because we've seen before, Uraume has frozen cursed spirits, which normally they should die after death, and cursed spirits are made of pure cursed energy. So if they can freeze cursed spirits, which are made, again, of purely cursed energy, to the point that it doesn't disappear, there's no reason why they wouldn't be able to freeze Jackpot. A lot of people called me crazy, but the theory was proven completely true this chapter. Uraume destroys Hakari's arm easily, but as Uraume begins to do another attack, Hakari's hand instantly heals, and he face palms Uraume. This is such a badass panel, brings Uraume down the building, and Uraume is fine. So here's the craziest part, as much damage as I'm about to tell you that Hakari does this chapter, Uraume literally takes no damage from all of it. In the video that I made, again, less than 24 hours from now, where I talk about why this fight is going to be generational, a lot of the people in the comments were underestimating Uraume, saying Jackpot's gonna one-shot, Uraume stands no chance, because I actually said this fight is going to be insanely close, and it's going to be a bloody match, a life and death match, which again, it does look like it's gonna be that way so far, at least. You know, I don't know how the fight's gonna end. Maybe it will be a low diff and someone's gonna be the other one quickly, but I doubt that. It really does look like, at least what I said originally, that it should be a close fight. To continue, Uraume makes this sort of like stone cannon like Rudeus from Mushoku Tensei, but I guess it's an ice cannon, and rips out Hakari's stomach and torso, but Hakari, the Jackpot, the gambler that he is, the beast, the tank, the durable, absolute monster that he is, regenerates from it like it was nothing, is smiling. He goes to kick Uraume, but it's really weird. It seems like Hakari slips out of his shoe or breaks his own leg and heals it fast enough, or just simply breaks out of that. Something happens and he basically smacks Uraume with his bare foot, and Uraume goes flying through building blocks. Now, this looks very similar to when Uro was actually fighting Yuta and destroying city blocks, so that's how we know this is a special grade level fight right now between monsters. And Uraume says something crazy here. Uraume actually says the healing speed is extraordinary, but that single aspect, he surpasses Sukuna-sama and Gojo Satoru, which there we go, it's confirmed. He actually has better healing than Gojo and Sukuna, goddamn. And Uraume goes on this whole dialogue, I'll put up on the screen, about how modern sorcerers have this certain mentality, and there's also a mindset of the human nature. And Uraume actually says Hakari doesn't have this, he's destroying all the property, he doesn't have that normal human nature, and Uraume says that they won't regard Hakari as human anymore. Uraume says, I'm crushing you. And Hakari actually brings up Yuta, and Hakari actually says he's fascinated by his kohai, so basically his junior, because he says something like that with the whole human nature stuff does matter to him, and he gets fascinated by it. And Hakari says he's fired up, and the fight begins right there. And there's a whole bunch of text for Higuruma basically trying to get Sukuna on the allegations. I'll leave it up on the screen, but it really doesn't matter, because at the end of it, Sukuna literally says, I don't care where and what I did, just end it already. And Higuruma's shocked. Judgman gives Sukuna guilty, confiscation, death penalty, and Sukuna laughs, he smiles, and here we go, the theory that I said originally was confirmed. Like I said in my recent video and also from 2 months ago, it's not clear what would be taken from confiscation, and there was various options. Either it takes 10 shadows, either Sukuna demands a retrial, either it takes only one curse technique, and that was actually a big thing I brought up in my recent video, and it seems like that was true because the confiscation actually counted a cursed weapon, because a cursed weapon or a cursed tool is made from a cursed technique as like a cursed technique, and by the definition of confiscation, it just took it, that's all it did. And Sukuna absolutely obliterates Higuruma and Kusakabe at the end of the chapter, and there we go. Whether it's the first trial or the second retrial, whatever it was, he won in the end. And even the thumbnail that I put was spot on. The one who Sukuna killed is Higuruma, and what Sukuna said in my thumbnail is pretty much what he basically said in the chapter, right? Not exactly, but yeah, he basically confessed to it right away. He doesn't care. And yes, I know I'm gloating and I'm very happy. It's just because I got quite a lot wrong recently, so I'm at least happy I got something right, and especially because it was 2 for 2 too, because there was the Uraume and Hakari fight as well, which I just covered, so I got clowned on by everyone for all the things I got wrong, so I do hope all those people keep the same energy when I got things right, though I doubt they will. What a phenomenal chapter though. Again, just Sukuna admitting he's guilty, not carrying the confiscation, just taking a weapon, and as I talked about in my other videos, there are so many possibilities for Sukuna to win. Like, I listed off 5 or 6 through those 2 videos combined, and even more on Twitter, but even I didn't include the cursed tools, and I bet there were even more ways Sukuna could have easily won this. Just from the beginning, when you look at this plan, it was just extremely flawed. There were just way too many variables, way too many specific outcomes and unique possibilities, and especially with Sukuna, who has so many cursed tools, he has another soul inside of him, he has a lot of cursed techniques, his brain is different, he's not even human. I'm gonna be honest, it was just a horrible plan, and I'm not saying that in hindsight. I have been saying this for 2 months. I've been trying to tell them that they are guaranteed to lose to Sukuna in these court cases. And I will say it's cool how Kusakabe, and shout out Ino, man, he's like semi-grade 1, officially grade 2, but again, it was said that he's at least that level of strength, semi-grade 1, and he's pulling up. Like, I don't care if Sukuna doesn't have his curse technique, that's still Sukuna. The fact that he's pulling up, I have major respect for that. Of course, Joso's pulling up, he's very powerful, but still, big respect to her. And Kusakabe, someone who tends to avoid these type of things, he pulled up, and fortunately, he did pay the price as he and Higuruma got absolutely dissected by Sukuna's Cleaminess Mantle. Now, we don't know if they're dead because it's unclear if the cuts actually went all the way through. This is actually very similar to the time when Sukuna broke Gojo's domain for the first time and he cut Gojo's neck. We weren't too sure if he cut his head off or he didn't. Many of us knew Gojo wasn't going to die there. The fight wouldn't end right then and there. So I don't want to say they're dead confirmed, but I think it's likely that they are because they're not Gojo. Unless Sukuna's output is for some reason weakened. I mean, maybe Judgment did something and it's weakened Sukuna's output, which makes no sense, I'm going to be honest, but I'm just throwing out some copium ideas or reasons why maybe Higuruma and Kusakabe could have tanked it. Otherwise, it does look like they are dead. I mean, it's cuts from Sukuna, cutting the world or not, it's gonna penetrate them and rip them apart unless you're Gojo. And again, Sukuna is applying the world cutting slashes to it, so I don't see how they would be able to tank multiple cuts of these if Gojo and Kashimo and his curse technique can't. Now, if you're someone who's been watching this channel for a while, like I've been saying in every video, honestly, every Yuji video I've put out recently, I kept saying, I think Yuji's gonna lose this first round of Sukuna. I've compared it to countless other anime, not just shonen, but storytelling in general. It would be way too anticlimactic for him to win the first round, and again, it's not confirmed that this is the way that it's gonna go, but more and more it's looking likely that this narrative analysis that I've made is probably gonna be true, and Yuji will probably lose right here and now. Of course, I don't think this is the end for Yuji. I think there's gonna be a second battle with Sukuna once he recuperates, once he gets his energy back and he regroups. Maybe even a third one if he loses the second one, though it's always possible that he's just gonna win this one here, which would be insane, but it's not impossible, so I'm definitely not right yet, but it's looking like it's leaning towards what I've been saying for a couple months. And it's interesting that Ino is there because one of the most popular videos on my channel, I have a theory video where I actually think Yuji will die and Ino will resurrect him, and I know that sounds insane and like it makes no sense, but trust me, it makes a lot of sense, and Ino's curse technique should be able to do that for Yuji specifically, and it's interesting that Ino is there on the battlefield, so I still think the theory is unlikely. I'm not going to say it's confirmed. There's still like, I would even say a 1 or 2% chance that it could be true, but after seeing Ino on the battlefield, I actually want to boost it up to say 5-6%. It's still super unlikely, but if Yuji does die during this first fight or he's on the brink of death, Ino could do something crazy, or it could even be Choso. Again, it could be both of them who help resurrect Yuji if it does go that route. Though maybe Yuji's gonna go full MC and solo Sukuna, I guess, which is something that Gojo can't even do, and it seems like Yuta is stronger than Yuji, so there's no reason why he should be able to beat Sukuna right now unless he gets a shonen power-up right here, which I don't think is gonna happen during this first round at least. It was a phenomenal chapter. I loved it all around. Again, the Uraume and Hakari stuff, just generational stuff. I'm so glad I put that video out less than a day before this chapter came out. The timing couldn't have been more perfect, and I loved what we got. If this is just the beginning of Uraume versus Kashimo, I was exaggerating with that title saying it's going to be generational, but I may be right. This may be one of the better fights of JJK if it's actually fleshed out and we get to see most of it, unless it's off screen, which would be a shame, but hopefully we do get to see it. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like, it helps out a ton. And of course, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe for a ton of consistent and quality JJK content just like this. Like I said in the beginning, less than 10% of people who actually watch my videos are subscribed, so trust me, if you love JJK, I promise you, you won't regret subscribing. And of course, thank you to all the channel members as well. It is much appreciated. That's all from me. Have a great day and take care, guys.